time, like I always say.
Ready?
Yep.
The Unknown Zone.
Talk show.
The Unknown Zone.
And past lives are so fun because oftentimes we can corroborate the information that we get with historical documents online.
That's great.
Or in other research facilities. I have a friend and we did a past life on him, and we got that he lived in this western city in Alabama, western Alabama. And we got all this information. And so he went and looked it up. Well, he couldn't find it anywhere, but he ended up finding it on an old map, and the city no longer exists. You know, it was like a little town, like a Gold Rush town or something. It wasn't Gold Rush, but it was something along those lines where, you know, how those little towns sometimes would be swallowed up into other towns. But he found it in the place where we got where it was in Western Alabama. We got it like southwestern Alabama or something. And he was able to find it. So it's really fun when we can corroborate that. And I always say, you can't make this stuff up.
You can't. There's too many. When I say coincidence, I really don't mean coincidence, because it's not. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just because you can't explain it.
Serendipity. And I always laugh. I always say, if I could make all this stuff up, I'd be the next J.K. Rowling and have $1 billion empire. So,
amen.
Yeah.
But I admire you because you're very smart. And, you know, it seems like you use both sides of the brain.
I don't know. It's just all a big mush in there. I just report what comes out.
That's awesome. So was that interesting to you, Phil? Did that make sense?
It's very interesting. Super interesting. Of course,
interesting.
It makes sense.
And
Are you interested in the Aboriginal culture?
Not, you know, I've seen things where I was cool, you know, but I don't think I was, you know, like, I don't think I'm going out to the Outback anytime soon.
Well, the interesting thing about them is they've been communicating telepathically for millennia across vast distances. And there are many other cultures that have as well. When a young man is on his walkabout, the other people that are part of their family or whatever, they're staying in touch with him telepathically while he's out there by himself. And they know where he is, and they know when he's coming in, and it's pretty remarkable. It's not pretty, it is remarkable.
I'll have that thing, and this is a very simple thing, where I can't find something, and I'll just get quiet, and I go, oh, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
my mother and grandmother used to say this prayer to Saint Anthony, Tony, look around, something's lost and must be found. Phil, you've heard that before, right?
And the one about parking spots.
Well, I don't know about that. Is there a prayer for that?
Yeah, there is. And I can't remember what it is, but it's obviously be very New York, since parking.
Especially where she lives. You gotta really pray.
I had a friend who couldn't find a parking spot for 2 hours, and he pulled over and started crying.
Oh, yeah.
But there is a prayer.
And if you have a parking spot, you're usually paying lots of money for it.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy here.
My only other question that I felt like I wanted to ask was, now I know you don't interfere, you don't come up and read people without their permission. I understand. Right. I already know that. But do you read yourself? Like, do you have, like, are you in stage phase 3 or phase 4? Do you do it yourself, or are you afraid to do it yourself?
Oh, no. I work on myself all the time. You know, if I have something that hurts or I injure myself or something like that. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm talking about when the angels are surrounding you, ready to.
I mean, if I was dying. Well, I've never been dying, so I can't answer that question because I haven't had that experience. But it does lead me to tell you a story. When my Mima, my grandmother who lived to be almost 100, when she was dying, I saw her spirit outside of her body. And in the spirit, when somebody's dying, it hangs on to the top of the head. It looks like a cartoon caption bubble where the words or the thoughts of the cartoon character are located in a cartoon. And I saw that, and it was the first time I'd seen it, and I didn't think it was real. I just didn't believe it. And she died an hour or two later. And I thought, all right, that's the last time I'm going to do that. And then the next time I saw it was when my own mother was dying. And that's the first time I saw the 12 phases of transition was with my own mother. And it was remarkable because all the angels I got, my grandmother who had died 6 months previously, my Mima, she was there. She was running the show. She was bringing in the angels. She was bringing in the other spirits. And when it really got interesting was when spirits of deceased people that I knew growing up, who'd been dead for decades, their spirits were there. I hadn't thought of them like our parish priest. He was there with his black cassock and the whole 9 yards, Father Byrne. And I'm like, really? Father Byrne, you've been dead for 25 years. I hadn't thought about him since he died, really.
Wow.
Maybe in passing. And then when it really got interesting, even more so than that, was when deceased pet spirits showed up. And these dogs that we had that were deceased when we were kids. And I'm just thinking, all right, that was totally unexpected. And I, again, was saying, I can't make this stuff up. So it was really interesting. And since that time, I've done literally thousands of scans on people who are dying around the world. And I can tell how close to death somebody is. I can communicate with the patient, even if they're unable to verbally communicate anymore. They give me information to relate to the family about what their wishes are and that kind of thing. And everybody goes through the 12 phases of transition, whether it happens instantly in the case of a homicide or suicide, or whether it happens over days, weeks, months, years. And it's a glorious component. And may I tell a quick story of how I even got
I would like to know how you even learned.
Okay. So this is about 10 years ago. My mother has died. My mother died in 2006. My grandmothers have died. Or my mother died in 2002. My father died in 2006. My sister died in 2010. So I'd seen all of this happen, not only with loved ones, but also helping other families and friends and acquaintances and people like that. I wasn't doing this like as a business yet. And one day I was at my mentor's in Nashville, and when she's doing a healing on me, my deceased loved one's spirits are in the room and they help facilitate the healing. And I'm on a table, lying on a table face up, and they line the sides of the table. My parents, my grandparents, my sister's spirit. Even dogs will show up sometimes. And one day this spirit of this deceased Pope showed up, this dead Pope with the whole Pope outfit on, the hat, the vestments, the whole 9 yards. And I said to him, well, who are you? And my mentor, Susan, could see him as well. And he said, I'm Clement. And I said, I never heard of a Pope Clement. I'm thinking 12 years Catholic schools. I never heard of a Pope Clement. And he said, well, I was number 6. And he was kind of laughing. I said, okay, great. How may I help you? Kind of like, why are you here? And he said, well, you're supposed to teach the world what happens when somebody dies, and all your business experience and everything is going to help you do that. And you just need to get on with it. And I said, yeah, well, I'm not doing that. Like you say, I'm a businesswoman and people are going to think I'm nuts, and I'm not doing that. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Just go ahead and get over yourself and get on with it. He didn't say that, but I'm paraphrasing. So long story short, I get in the car to go home and I Google Pope Clement VI. Turns out this guy was in office during the Black Plague when 2/3 of Europe died. And he's best known for his prayers for the dying and his prayers for the dead. And once again, I said to myself, Ryan, you can't make this stuff up. And since then, he's been my main spirit guide and has been prodding me ever since. And it really took several years for me to get to the place where I had enough courage, golden ovary courage, because, guys have brass balls, Phil, and girls have golden ovaries.
You know it, sister.
And and to put it out there, because I thought, I live in Alabama. I'm going to have people burning crosses in my front yard, like dressed in white sheets or something.
Can I tell you? I was going to this interfaith church in New York for a long time, and I met this woman. I don't know, you might have heard of her, Edwene Gaines.
I have not.
She's in Alabama. That's what made me think of it. And she was interfaith. I actually did a weekend there called Dancing with Your Dark Side. And at the end of the weekend, we all decided individually whether or not we wanted to walk on coals.
Yeah.
Right. And she was like, she said the same thing, though, that everyone around her, thought she was like, crazy witch, whatever.
Yeah.
But she was amazing. You know,
Well, the catalyst for me to finally say, okay, I'll do this was I'm sitting in mass between my son, who's now grown and married, and my husband. And the priest, during his sermon from the pulpit, says, wouldn't it be nice if somebody could tell us if we really are surrounded by our deceased loved ones and angels and they escort us to heaven? And I'm getting elbowed from both sides. And I'm thinking, okay, God, really? From the pulpit, from Father Fallon's
You
mouth?
you getting
Really?
called out in
I'm
church?
like, okay. No, he didn't know about it. He didn't know that I even could do all of this stuff. But, it's like from God's lips to my ears
Right.
kind of a thing.
absolutely.
But fast forward, I do angelic attendance. It's being used in churches around the country of all denominations. It's in the Bible study classes. It's in the book study classes. It's being used in synagogues. My parish gives it to every family that comes in that's planning a funeral. Father Fallon gives it to everybody that comes in that's planning a funeral. Every family gets one.
Oh, nice.
I didn't see that coming at all. And so I'll get emails from church people, the church lady, and she'll say, can we have 100 books at a discounted price? Can you work something out? And of course I will give them authors copies at a discounted price. I can do that, versus ordering it from Amazon or
Sure.
something.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, it leads me to think, because of everything that's going on now, I feel like we are, like, I kind of use astrology to, to tell me what makes sense in the world. But
Yeah.
it seems like we are evolving into exposing dark things and becoming, would you say, better people or a better society? I mean, we are evolving, because things are being exposed on a level that never has before.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting, and it's hard for us to wrap our human minds around, is in the spirit world, what I'm told repeatedly is there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. It's just an experience. And we look at that from a human perspective and we think, somebody went through a horrific time. How could that not be good or bad? I mean, that's awful.
It's hard, yeah.
But to the soul or the spirit, it's just an experience, and our spirit expands with each experience. Again, that's our internal GPS system.
Mhm.
Does this feel good? Does this feel bad?
Right. And that's
Not
being
that we
human, right?
cause things,
Hmm.
but we're here to have the human experience. And spirit sees the human experience as fun, regardless of what happens. And we think, well, that's twisted, that you think this person who's suffering is twisted. I
Right.
think of often people, especially during this pandemic time, that have lost a loved one and they couldn't be with them because they were in a nursing home or they were in the hospital. And with
Yeah.
the lockdown, they wouldn't allow their loved ones to be around them. And I find that these families are really suffering because they feel awful that their loved one had to pass by themselves. So one thing I want them to know is they were absolutely surrounded by angels and deceased loved ones. Number one. And number two, you can communicate with that deceased loved one at any time. Remember, all of our heads are big satellite dishes. You say something to them either aloud or in your head, they're going to answer you within a second. Like what we just did with you, Phil, with your father-in-law.
Right.
And I think that no psychic needed. We all have the software and
we
the
all
hardware.
do.
We
Yeah.
come in with it.
Right.
And along those lines, really, I'd like to offer to all of your viewers and listeners, if any of you would like a copy of Angelic Attendance, just go on my website, askjulieryan.com, send me a note, and Yvonne, I'll give you the link. But those of you that are listening, just go to the Ask Julie tab, put in a note, just say Yvonne and Phil, or Yvonne or Phil, or whatever you think of, and we will send you a copy of my book.
Oh, that's very
Free.
nice.
And so
Very nice.
I'm more than delighted to do that, especially during this time when you hear all these stories of people that have a loved one who's passed and they couldn't be with them.
Yeah. And that's refreshing and that's comforting. And, I love hearing that. I do believe that. And it's like everything happens the way it's supposed to, but we still are here to do our own journey. And when we can help people, we help people. And, and regardless, they're going to be okay, is pretty much what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because the worst case scenario is we die and we go to heaven, and that's nirvana. So, okay. you know, it kind
Sometimes
of
I'll
puts
think of
things
that
in.
like with a pet that's in pain. I'll think like, I hope they go sooner so that they can be at peace.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can talk to the pet and find out if the pet wants to be euthanized or not. Is
Right.
the pet ready to go?
Right.
And same way.
I had
Yeah.
two pets that passed in front of me, and
No.
you know what? I preferred that over euthanizing because it's we had the connection at the end, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Well, and people that euthanize have the connection at the end too. If they can be with their pet, a lot of times they're holding their pet or they're in their room and they're there. And I think it's important to remember too that we all decide when we go, where we go, who's with us when we go, and what the circumstances are surrounding our departure. Because so many people have guilt. They'll say, we sat with grandma for 3 weeks and Aunt Susie was on duty and she left the room for 3 minutes to go get a cup of coffee and grandma slipped away while she was out of the room. And then Aunt Susie's just mortified because she wasn't with grandma after everybody was with grandma.
How grandma wanted to go.
Yeah, but talk to any funeral director and they have stories that'll go on forever about that same type of thing happening. And the same with pets. They'll tell you what they want. I talk to a lot of pets and they'll say, I'm ready to be euthanized, or no, I'm not ready. How will you know? Well, when I can't control my bowels. The pet will tell the owner.
The other day. That was amazing. Yes.
That's very common.
I had a cat that she was on the way out and I knew it. And the day I took her to my vet to be euthanized, she walked into her case.
No.
Like I know. I was
like, I'm ready, Mom.
I'm ready. And I was just like, I called my vet. I said, I think she's ready. I went home and she walked right into it was like, oh my God. And on the way there, because my vet was like 20 minutes away, I love you. I love you. I love you.
I know. Well, and that
beautiful thing.
And her spirit's still around you. And that's the thing that we see over and over again when somebody's dying is all of their deceased pet spirits are there and we can identify the animals. And it's really funny when somebody grew up on a farm or lives on a farm and I'll say, okay, I'm seeing horses and chicks and cows and stuff like that. Did grandma grow up on a farm? And they'll say, oh yeah. And I'll describe them and they'll say, well, that collie's name was Sylvia and that horse's name was Barney or whatever. It's really fun.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun. Well, this has been awesome. I mean, what a beautiful experience and time to have with you during our snowstorm, our second snowstorm.
Oh, geez.
And
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. Well, baby, get on a plane and come to Sweet Home, Alabama. It's gonna be 60 and sunny down here.
I'm jealous. I know. I'm a little done. I'm a little done with the winters. I have to admit. I'm a little done.
I bet.
So, but everything's good. I feel good. I actually feel like I'm in the best place in my life. And I'm happy to have Phil here. I'm sorry the clown was unable to attend. It would have been fun, but you had so much beautiful and valuable information. And I love the fact that we pick our own time and how we're going to go.
Yeah.
That is golden right there. That is
right.
phenomenal.
Right. And so when you think of it that way, really every death is a suicide.
Oh, interesting.
Puts a different spin on it, doesn't it?
It really
and
does.
The worst thing that can happen if you die the worst thing that can happen to us is we die and then we're in heaven, which is nirvana, and it's perfection and it's fabulous.
Okay, so, last question.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so glad. Do we float, like, what is it like in heaven? How did I almost miss this question? What is it? Is it like, do we float around, or I can't imagine, I can't figure out, like, is it like, like there are buildings, or do we walk around? You know what I mean? Like, I keep thinking it's like very ethereal.
I think everybody's experience has to be different.
You think so?
Yeah.
I agree with Phil. It's whatever you want it to be.
Okay. So I could be floating in the atmosphere. That might
you could be floating. You could be flying around like Casper the Friendly Ghost. You can, I will talk to people and they'll say, we play a lot of pinochle. And I'll say, did your mom play a lot of pinochle? Your mom's playing pinochle with these relatives. And she said, oh my God. That's with Mahjong.
Phil and I play poker. That's how I know him. And we'll probably be playing poker in the afterlife.
Be playing poker. I'll hear, well, I'm fishing. And so we create whatever it is we want. And the difference is, in human form, we have to manifest it. In spirit form, we think of it and it's boom, it's immediate.
Wow.
The other thing is that spirit is always around us. Our loved ones are always around us. And when we think of them, that pulls them in instantly. And when we're folding laundry or doing laundry, like Marion, and she thinks of her dad, that's him letting her know that he's around. And it may be that that's the only time of the day when she really isn't doing something else with somebody else, and she has a couple of minutes of quiet time.
Receptive.
Yeah, because her brain is not thinking, okay, I got to do this with the kids, or I got to make dinner, or I got to whatever. And so it's a way that he can communicate with her. And all we have to do is just think of them and they come in. Did you guys watch Bewitched as a kid?
Of course.
Oh, I loved it. I wanted to be like Samantha Stevens when I grew up. Now I am. And teach people how to do it. And so
Dr. Bombay.
Dr. Bombay. And she'd say, Mother, and then Dora would come in right away. Or she'd say, Uncle Arthur, and Uncle Arthur would come in.
Aggie Moorhead, very, very.
Exactly.
Paul Lynn, who was
exactly.
Yeah.
Uncle Arthur. So we're dating ourselves, but it's the same thing. I laugh. I say, whoever wrote that screenplay knew woo-woo, because that's how it works.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can bring them in at any time, and everybody's able to do it. And as far as the other thing with heaven, how I explain it is, remember the old-fashioned emergency rooms where you'd have a whole bunch of patients in there and they just draw a curtain between the beds. Now they have a lot of
experience that now.
Okay. Some of the older hospitals still do that. Well, if there's a patient in the bed next to you and you can see them, you know they're there. When they draw that curtain, the patient's still there. You just can't see them, but they're still there. So that's how spirit is. It's just a different form. It's like the old, we learned water can be frozen, it can be solid, it can be a liquid, it can be a gas. It's still water, it's still the same molecules, it's just a different form. That's how spirit is. Amazing. Think of the emergency room with the curtain.
Well, Yvonne's going to be around till 95, so.
Maybe I may change my mind, I'm not sure. But I think I already decided, so. Well, Julie, thank you so much. I will post, I'll put your links on my in my editing. And
Julie, thank you so much as well.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what a delight to be with both of you. Thank you.
You're
I do have a prayer request, if I may.
Absolutely.
My husband, Tim, is going in for his second total knee on Tuesday.
Okay.
And so I would love it if you guys would remember him in your prayers. The first one was a breeze. So I said to a surgeon, rinse and repeat, right?
Absolutely.
Which one?
It's going to be his left. His left. The right one went great. So
I want to
be okay. I will pray. I will definitely put a prayer in there.
Thank you. How much snow are you guys supposed to get?
What do you think?
Whatever.
Go
like
Dolphins.
A lot or a little?
Did they say it was a snowy storm? It's going to stop. What time is it? They said around 4. It's not going to be as much as the last.
It's supposed to snow later in the week too. Whatever.
Yeah.
How many inches did you get last week?
Like
18 in the city at least.
Yikes.
It was a lot. Yeah.
And then you're going to get another 4 or 5 today?
I think so. Yeah. We have the dirty snow. It's going to go over the dirty snow. So that'll be nice.
Yeah. I grew up in that stuff. I don't do that. I don't do snow anymore.
I'm headed south or west. I'll tell you.
I don't do it. Life's too short. Yeah.
Amen.
It's pretty to look at it. I don't want to shovel it. I don't want to walk in it. I want to drive in it.
No more. I had my last winter coat. I'm not buying another one next year.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, yes. Are you rooting for the Chiefs, Phil?
I'm just rooting for a good game. That's all.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm not into football, so.
I want Brady to win. I want Brady to win because, my God, the guy's the winningest quarterback in history.
Yeah,
I mean, and how amazing that he's in. And I'm a college football fan, not a pro football fan, but how amazing that he's on this new team in his first year. He's in the Super Bowl again. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's not by luck, that's for sure.
Oh, he's incredible. Yeah. All right. Lots of love.
All right. Yes.
He's the winner.
Great
well.
Good time.
All righty.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
guys.
Yeah. One last thing.
Sure.
Show.
Talk show.
The Unknown Show.
Talk show.
The Unknown Zone.
Talk show.